When I used to be a simple mortal on the earth, it was a little difficult to understand English when I started studying it. But I really worked extremely hard that for me it became easier. Hey, my little angels, welcome to the English paradise. I know the reason why you are here. I heard that you have been having problems with some topics. Sometimes, when we cannot understand some things, it makes us feel bewildered or atrocious. But don't worry about that, because it's part of the way of knowledge. However, I, the goddess of English, will explain to you three lessons about the correct pronunciation of regular verbs in past. Number two, the root of words using roots, prefixes, and suffixes. And finally, the study of cognates in an undeniably easy form. So, when the video ends, you will be certain to talk about it to your friends, to your family, and more important, to your teacher. Why? Because it's crucial to pass the level. So, let's start with the first lesson.
Past tense ed ending. In English, spelling is not the same as pronunciation. For regular past verbs, the final ed ending has three different pronunciations. Here are they. Number 1. If the infinitive of the verb has a voiceless sound at the end of it, such as or you pronounce the ed ending as a t. However, it's the sound that determines the group that a word belongs to, not always the grading letter. For example, even though dance ends with a s, its sound is like s, so it's in the voiceless group. As some examples we have. Please repeat the word after me. Asked, baked, trapped, escaped, finished, stopped, walked. Now it's your turn. Tell me some words that fulfill the rule and create a sentence. Number 2. If the last sound in the verb is a voiced one, such as l, m, n, j, r, g, b, v, w, z, or vowel sounds or deep tones, then pronounce the ed ending as d. Nevertheless, the sound determines the group that a word belongs to, not always the grading letter. As some examples we have arrived, believed, cried, damaged, rained, used, welcomed. Now please give me your examples and think in a sentence. Number 3. If the last sound in the infinitive verb is a T or D, pronounce the ed ending as it. As some examples we have attended, decided, invited, landed, needed, painted, visited. It's time to give me your examples in a sentence, please.
Well done, my little angels. That was a vastly easy. So, now that you know the three rules, let's go to play an activity to test what you learned.
In the next quiz, you have to choose the letter that corresponds to the correct pronunciation. Let's start. Number 1. Separated ends in ed, correct. The next one. Number 2, frustrated ends in ed, right. Number 3, divorced ends in t, you're right. Number 4, dropped ends in t, correct. Number 5, engage ends in d, perfect. Number 6, state ends in d, perfect.
So good, guys. Our next lesson is getting the root of words. Maybe have you heard about root words? No? Well, let me explain in what it consists of.
Getting the root of words. A root word is a word or word part that forms the basis of new words through the addition of affixes that are classified in prefixes and suffixes. Many of the words we use in our daily language come from a root word. Once you pull off any prefixes or suffixes, the root is usually what remains. A prefix is a string of letters that go at the start of a word. Examples include pre, re, in, and an. This one changes the meaning of a word. For instance, complete means to make whole. However, if we add the prefix in, as the result we have the opposite. Meanwhile, a suffix is a string of letters that go at the end of a word. Examples include young, or, it, and ink. This one adds more specification to the word. For instance, try and tried means the same thing. However, the suffix changes the first one, adding the ed. That means it's the past tense of the word. Another example that we have is with the word dict. That means said. And here we have these words: dictionary, addict, predict, contradict, valedictorian, dictator, dictate, vindicate, verdict, dedicate. Now we are completely clear about this topic, it's time to play a game. This is the root detective. You have to investigate inside your mind to remember some words that you have heard before with a specific root and complete the tree. Think about it if the word has a prefix or suffix. The word we will investigate is liver. You will have a little time to tell me the examples you will find. Then we are going to compare the results. And here we have some words from the root liver. We have liberal, deliverance, liberation, ad-lib, livery, libertine, liberty. Tell me, do you think the same?
Wow, congrats on coming to this point. Now you have passed most of the 50%. So let's go with our last lesson.
The study of cognates. Cognate language and words have the same origin or are related and in some way similar. They are classified in three ways. Number 1. Perfect cognates. Words that are spelled exactly the same in Spanish and English, except for maybe an accent over one letter, and they mean the same thing in both languages. Here are some examples like television, televisión, social, social, usual, usual, visible, visible, animal, animal, base, base, capital, capital, conclusion, conclusion. Can you tell me words that share this rule? Number 2. Near perfect cognates. Words that mean the same and can be converted from Spanish to English or English to Spanish by applying some rules. Number 1. Sion in Spanish changes to tion in English. For example, información to information. Number 2, Ario in Spanish changes to Ari in English. For example, aniversario to anniversary. Number 3, Ico in Spanish changes to ic in English. For example, básico to basic. Number 4, oso in Spanish changes to us in English. For example, curioso to curious. Number 5, to in Spanish changes to in English. For example, abstracto to abstract. Number 6, mente in Spanish changes to li in English. For example, perfectamente to perfectly. As we can see, here we have more examples. Number 3, false cognates or false friends. Words that also look similar in writing and pronunciation but have a completely different meaning. Here are some examples. Embarrassed, in Spanish avergonzada, embarazada, in English pregnant. Pie, in Spanish tarta, pie, in English foot. Rope, in Spanish cuerda, ropa, in English clothes. Grape, in Spanish uva, grappa, in English staple. Record, in Spanish grabar, recordar, in English remember. Do you remember some words in both English and Spanish that are similar, but it means something tremendously different? Tell me, please. To conclude this topic, we're going to play our last game. Let's go. Here we have another quiz to choose if some words are perfect, near perfect, or false cognates. Let's play. Number 1, fabric and fabrica. This is a false cognate. You're right. Pan and pan. This is a false cognate. Yeah. Number 3, banana and banana. This is a perfect cognate. Number 4, leopard and leopardo. This is a near perfect cognate. Number 5, history and historia. This is a near perfect cognate.
Yes, congratulations, my little angels. I'm certain that you learned a lot in that step explanation. It makes me feel exceptional to help you all the time. As I said earlier, sometimes it can seem as if something is difficult, but remember, you always have to try tremendously hard. So, I hope you have a good trip. Come back to the area. Bye.